And you guys went to talk to the kids at West Side Highway today. High school, sorry.
Yeah.
West Side High School today.
Foundation.
From the bottom of Foundation. How did that work out?
It was
great.
For me, I've just got a special place for kids. I love all children, and I think for me, that's the hardest part of my journey is what I've done to my kids.
Yeah. Why are you laughing, Tamika?
No, I just think for me, you know, I thought that I was, because I came from nothing.
Yeah.
I wanted so bad for them to have everything that I didn't. And I was a hustler. You know, I'm still a hustler. I just switched it up. Like, I'm going to do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? To take care of my kids. But it's like when I was taken away and my mother died and my grandmother died, I really don't know what they went through because they ended up being split up. One had to go here, one had to go there. I gave birth to my daughter. When I came home, my daughter didn't even know me. She didn't even want to let me touch her. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, like, that's still a process that I have to go through just as a parent. You know what I'm saying? Where did I fail? You know what I'm saying? And how did I not think about how going to prison would affect my children?
Hi guys, it's Angel and I'm here with This Is 50 and we have the beautiful cast from the bottom up. Hi ladies. You guys introduce yourself?
Yes. Well, my name is Brandy.
Okay.
From Detroit.
Brandy Davis, she's that bitch.
That bitch, Brandy. That bitch, Brandy.
Still that bitch. Go ahead, Danielle.
I'm Danielle from Boston.
Tamika Wright from the A from Atlanta.
Aisha Jean from Decatur.
Angela Stanton, Atlanta.
I was watching the trailer and I was seeing that you were having a little difficulty and you were saying that, you know, you were wondering like why God put you in this position and you know, you
Wait, I think that was Ish.
No.
It was me?
You.
Oh.
No, in the kitchen. You was in the kitchen and you were, you know, talking to your family and you were talking to, you know, one of your family members and you were basically saying why you were in this position. Can you give us a little bit more insight on that? Like how you feel now that you're out and, you know.
I feel good now that I'm out, but when I caught my case, you know, I caught my case with my current boyfriend at the time and he betrayed me. So he ended up cooperating against me. He ended up cooperating against my father. Me and my father ended up becoming co-defendants on a federal drug conspiracy case. And I was just wondering, my dad was like 65 at the time, you know, I'm like, dang, why did he do this to me? Like, I would have took the rap to save my dad, so why did he implement my dad when he already wrote on me, you know? So I was battling in my mind, like, what did I do, you know, to go through this? And then, like, my father ended up going to prison. He had 8 years. He ended up getting sick in prison. They let him come home and he died 6 months after he came home. I couldn't attend my dad's funeral. You know, I couldn't be there with my family at our time of need. And I kind of was like wondering why. But now I kind of look at it from a different perspective because it's like, I feel God put me through something for a reason, you know, and I feel like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be who I am today. You know, because my dad was like my everything. Like, he was my backbone. He was my strength. If I needed anything, I know I can call my daddy. He'd do it. So me coming home and my dad not being there was kind of like a wake-up call for me because I'm like, who do I have? Like, I got my family, but I don't have the man I can go to that provide everything for me. That's security. So it's like I finally had to stand on my own and get it on my own.
You want to talk a little bit about your situation?
So my story, I didn't go to prison, but I was a prisoner myself. Like, I was trying to fit society's norm and scared to tell my truth because of what everyone else expected of me and what I thought people expected of me. So I fought for this family that was not my reality. Sometimes you need to step back and just take a look at things and accept your life as it is. And I couldn't do that because I didn't want to be a single mom. I didn't want my child to be a statistic. And I grew up without my dad. I didn't want that for my child. So I waited all these years, finally thought I met this man of my dreams. I mean, everything happened fast, I will say that, so I probably should have pumped the brakes. You see so many stories where it's like, oh, I met him and he was it. And that's what I really thought happened. And it wasn't. And it's a situation where I fought for 3 years, pretended on social media like everything was perfect, would post these pictures, would take family pictures. But inside, it's like, who was I really doing it for? Because I was dying. Until this show, I didn't realize what I was really going through and how prisoner I was of myself.
Wow.
Because I would sit back and even during the film and I'm like, why can't I just talk about what me and Anna are doing now? Why do I have to talk about that? They're like, people need to see your bottom. And once that first trailer aired, I just remember looking at the TV like, oh shit, it's out. And I just felt free.
But you was afraid of the reaction.
Yeah,
She was.
I was.
Yeah.
But and then once it out, it was like, yeah, it's out. I told my story.
How do you feel now?
free.
feel
Like,
free.
I don't care what you think. This is my life. This is my child. I'm a great mom. I'm a great person. And we're moving on.
Okay, so
Period.
this is like therapy. for
Man,
you.
it was.
This is
I didn't
therapy
realize
for
what
you.
this show was gonna do for me.
And like stop trying to protect the people that hurt you.
Yeah.
She was.
The
She
most.
had a hard time with that.
Talking
But I
about
can
it,
tell it's
everything.
the difference now. I can see a big difference.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't want to touch the subject of her baby
Right.
father.
They would do it for me. Like, you know, they
They
would.
would.
Like he a deadbeat.
Let's hear your story.
Well, my story been going on for so long now. It started 2011 when the feds first came to me. It started off as an investigation. It's actually took them 4 years to indict me. So during this time of me waiting to be indicted, I had started from the bottom again after I had made millions. Because after the feds come, it kind of do something to you where you completely shut down.
Yeah.
You completely shut down and you just kind of want to vanish in a sense. So I had to start over from 2011. Ended up having a clothing boutique. You know, it was very successful in the short time that I had it in Buckhead. And after the boutique, I got into actually selling waist trainers online. So this is when that inner hustle kind of kicked in again, because when you get a fraud case especially, you start doubting yourself. You start believing, oh, I am a fraud, oh, I am a thief, I am all these things other than I made a mistake. Because it's one thing, I made a mistake, oh, I am really this con artist person. So it's like, I'm a person that went to college. I have a 4th degree in criminal justice. I have a degree in criminal justice right now. And it's like, I have to suffer with having a lifetime of a mark as a felony on my chest now.
Okay.
And so it's like once I had to rebound one time from it, it's like I had to do it twice. So it's like now I have to leave, I have to wait 2019 when my husband come home from prison to basically start all over again.
Yep. And turn yourself into prison.
It's like I'm waiting right now to go to prison.
How does that like?
That's an imprisonment itself.
How does that feel? Is it like
Every
you just
day-
kind of just want to get it over with? Like that?
I definitely, the day they came to my house was on my son's birthday. My son had just turned 14.
Oh wow.
First day of school, the feds at my house. The kids just left like 8 in the morning, the feds at my house 9 in the morning. My son's birthday, something I would never ever forget. So it's like every day I know I'm closer to going to prison. That's a whole mental prison by itself.
Yes.
Because I can never just be free and I can't move around how they move. She's rebuilding, she's rebuilding, she's rebuilding, she's rebuilding. I'm rebuilding knowing I got to rebuild. It's like I'm a consistent rebuilding stage. And it's exhausting, but at the same time, I know this is where I'm really made at.
Okay.
This is where Tamika Wright is really made at, like this point of having the drive and the energy just to keep starting up. Because most people have been gave up.
Yeah.
I know they would.
Definitely.
So my story is that I was married for 6 years.
Okay.
And the last 2 years, I was completely depressed. Reason why I was depressed? Because we had 2 different goals. Not because of infidelity or anything like that, but because I had goals because I'm a designer. So I was working on a line that I wanted to promote. But I couldn't reach those goals because me and my mate weren't equally yoked. I want to save, I want to grow, I want to act. He want to spend, he want to look good, he want to look good. I'm not into that. So it's like I adapt to his lifestyle. I went into depression. I stopped being a mother, I stopped being a wife, I stopped being a friend, I stopped being a sister, I gave them all who I was. That's what was my situation. So the last 2 years of our marriage, I wanted to commit suicide. I was like, I can't live with this man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I couldn't leave him, I don't know. So in the process, I woke up one morning and I just got a gun. I was like, you got to go. I can't live with you. You have to go. I got 4 kids that are mine, and they're looking at me laying in the bed. They're looking at me not doing these things. In that process, I laid in the bed and I just was personal shopping for like almost like a year. I myself not sharing income with him. I saved my own million. I was able to see my first million just from me not saving money with anybody.
That's great.
But I wasn't paying attention that I was doing these things. So he came to me with an issue. I told him where I had money at. And a month prior, it was because this is my mate. So he has an issue, and I'm telling you that I saved money, right? So you talking to your mate. I saved it, I tell him. So I told him a month prior, and what happened was when I put him out, I laid in the bed for 3 days crying moping, weeping. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have did it because we never split up. We was never apart from each other. And he like left me with no money. I had $100 in my account.
So he robbed you.
He took what I had, and well, you can't really rob a person if you got access to it.
But no, you took something that you ain't have permission on taking.
And
he robbed you.
Yeah.
And left me with
$100
in my account.
With 4 kids.
With 4 kids. So my kids I didn't realize at the time I'm depressed. So my kids are depressed as well. I didn't realize that I left this man and I'm stuck and I don't know what to do. I've always gotten up and did it. I don't care if me and my kids don't have nothing. We don't split up. We make it work. We gonna do it. But in this process, my daughter came in my room. I had no will to do anything. I was just like, God, I just don't give a fuck about shit. I don't care about these kids. I don't care about nothing. I just want to get up out of here. So what happened was, my daughter came, 45 days, shit do again. Shit about to get cut off. Nobody want to believe me. I'm fucked up. Nobody want to believe me. I had nobody help me. You're too embarrassed to tell people that you're depressed. You're too embarrassed to ask for little amounts of money because it's embarrassing. So my daughter came in my room and I realized I was at my bottom when I couldn't even buy my daughter no pads. When I wash the pot, no food, no nothing. I'm just laying in the bed.
So at what point did you decide to take your life back and take control of your life and come out of the depression?
Well, after that, I had to let my kids go.
Okay.
I couldn't take care of them. So after that point, I don't know. It was just my will to say I want to do it for my kids. Okay. I'm like I want to mend my relationship with my kids. Like when I realized that my kid, 8 months after my kids left, I still realized that I wasn't the only one that was depressed. My kids going through it.
Can you tell some of your story?
Well, I think my story is probably a little different from theirs. My story started very young, at the age of 5 years old when I was sexually abused by a family member. I told what happened and nobody kind of did anything about it. Being young and not really knowing how to control my emotions, I knew something bad had happened, but the fact that no one did anything left me with a lot of mixed and confused messages. So I started acting out. I think I got kicked out of every school I've ever been to in my entire life prior to where I am now. I've been in and out of jails, I've been in and out of prisons, I've been in and out of detention centers, and I think that I was a child that was hurting and that was looking for something and couldn't ever find it. Because I didn't really have the proper guidance, I ended up getting caught up, getting close to a friend or someone who I thought was a friend, who played the role of a friend and a mentor. And I ended up getting in a lot of trouble. And I was a willing participant. No one ever put a gun to my head and made me do anything. But I was always a very loyal person. So I ended up going to prison. My first 6 months of prison, I'd given birth to my daughter handcuffed to a bed. My mother died of a massive heart attack. And then 6 months after that, my grandmother died as well. I think at that point, I didn't want to live anymore. I really didn't care what happened because I had absolutely no control over my life. I was someone that was completely broken. But in the midst of that brokenness, I found my strength. And so while I was in prison, I picked up a pen and a pad and I started walking around prison every day, interviewing women that were in prison with me, because the one thing I know is that when I was asked as a child, what do I want to be when I grow up? I never said I wanted to go to prison. So I really honestly believe that there are things that happen to us that put us on the path to prison. So since that transition happened and I was going around and interviewing women in prison about their stories and their mishaps in life, I realized that there are a lot of other women like me. And I made a decision that I was going to tell my personal story and I was going to use my story to help other young women. When I was released from prison, I actually did release my story, Lies of a Real Housewife, which is one of my books, which has made me a national best-selling author. And I was sued for $30 million a day after the book came out. Now, to me, a lot of people would think that that was something that would let somebody down or trouble them very much. But to me, it was kind of like a blessing, because honestly, I didn't think my story was worth 30 cents. So when the price tag was put on it for 30 million, I said, well, wait a minute. I must really got something to say, And I was like, let me fight this. Let me fight for my truth. Because ever since that situation happened when I was a little girl, I was silenced. And I think that it's important for ladies to have a voice. I think that it's important for us to tell our stories so we can reach back and help the next generation that's coming along. I litigated the case against Phaedra Park. She was upset because her name was mentioned in the book, but that's something else that I teach young women about being loyal to friends and then what happens when they're not loyal to you. I litigated for 4 years and eventually her case was dismissed with prejudice. So now I'm free to tell my story, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I don't have any shame in my game whatsoever. I was a very, very troubled child, but my thing is helping people understand why I was a troubled child. I was very promiscuous. I had 5 children by 5 different men, but that came from being sexually abused and not being taught about my worth, and nothing happening to the person that violated me. So as I grew up and I didn't have the correct understanding, I actually thought that that was what I was supposed to do. I thought that I was supposed to give my body to a man, and I had absolutely no worth. But I think today there's a new day and age. We are bringing back the real. We really want to use our stories to change, to implement confidence, to let you know that no matter where you've been or what you've been through, you can look at me, you can look at my life story. When I got released from prison, I had a $25 check and a bus ticket, and I was told to go start my life over. I had 4 kids, I had 3 garbage bags, and I came home to 2 tombstones. My mother was in one grave and my grandmother was in the other. I completely lost my whole sense of everything, and I had no idea how I was going to make it. I think writing for me was my only outlet. It was the only way. I was a convicted felon. I had so many labels. I couldn't get a job. I was on federal parole. I was on state parole. They're putting pressure on me to pay this bill. If I don't pay it, I'm going back to prison. I got kids that I'm trying to take care of. And it was just a very, very hard process for me. But God connected me with some of the right people. My life mentor, Dr. Elvita King, she grabbed me by the hand and she said, "You're going to make it." She said, "And you're going to be a strong woman and you're going to raise strong children." And I just thank God for her, because if it had not been for her, I couldn't tell you where I would be. But faith and determination and never giving up. That's my story.
So what separates you guys from the previous cast members?
Well, actually, I was locked up with one of the previous cast members, Kim Smedley. But I knew Kim before she even went to jail.
Okay.
She used to come to Detroit a lot, you know, and have like butt parties, but we were just cool with her. No, they did. They used to have like butt parties where she'd come and the girls would come to the hotel and do their butts. But we were cool before that. So when I seen her in prison, she was happy because she seen a familiar face.
Okay.
You know, and to me, her being in prison kind of humbled her, because when she wasn't in prison, she kind of had this air about herself, an attitude about herself. But it seemed like when she came in prison, it kind of humbled her a little bit. She was a little more humble. But I think what separates us, and I was locked up when the first 2 seasons came out, but I seen a little bit of the episodes or whatever, and I think what separates us from the past 2 seasons is we're more transparent. You know, we're more open to exposing ourselves and exposing our lives on a more personal side.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell the viewers about the show? Anything about yourself before we go?
I just want to tell them to watch the show.
Watch. Tune in March 3rd.
March 3rd.
Tune in March 3rd.
BET TV.
BET
Every Saturday at 10 p.m. on
10
BET.
p.m.
And just know that the real is back.
It is.
Okay. Yes.